So we have really big breaking news to share, which is the fact that President Joe Biden over the weekends, which means that if you are watching this on release date, this is really big. But even if you are watching this onto the future, it means that it is still absolutely also very important. But the really big breaking news to start is that President Joe Biden has now officially signed and approved of a brand new $40 billion fourth stimulus Ukraine aid package. So the really great news is that over this weekend, President Joe Biden took a trip to Asia, specifically to South Korea, and he ended up now officially signing this package. Now, I do know obviously there's many people that probably want to hear things more on a domestic level, but it is still very important actually, because there are ways that this is going to impact what's happening in America. And at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing is that if you are going through something at this time, it's probably also just very insightful to hear, because, and this is more of a sad thing actually to share, but it is something that's needed to share, which is really about the fact that there is a lot of things that are going on around the world right now. So if you're currently going through something as difficult as it is, maybe it'll be a little bit relieving to just know that many people are in pretty much the same exact shoes, if not potentially even harder shoes actually, because of what's been going on in the world, if you've been following international news, which is what today's video is about. So hey everyone, how's it going today? Today's update, I really just want to pretty much talk about the Ukraine aid package, the background story to what really ended up happening, and then maybe of course we will end this to talk a little bit about what this means for America and fourth stimulus packages and everything related to that, if you are just someone that's interested, and hopefully everything's going to make a lot more sense by the end. So we're going to get right to it, but as always, real fast, before we begin, consider smashing the like button if you guys hopefully enjoy videos like this, and especially because at least we are talking about an approval, so I think that's pretty great news, more or less. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell for similar videos if you guys are interested, or you can watch to the end and decide. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, personal thoughts. Really, it is always great to hear from you guys, and hopefully if you're watching on release date, hopefully it was a great weekend. So with that being said, let's get this video started. So the background story to what really ended up happening is that over the most recent weekend, or if you're watching this in the future, specifically on Saturday, May 21st, 2022, President Joe Biden ended up taking a trip to Asia, specifically to South Korea, where over there, he has now officially approved and signed the brand new $40 billion fourth stimulus Ukraine aid package. Now, they are still very much working on the fourth stimulus package that applies to America, but this is still going to be very important, which we're going to hear out in a little bit. But really the big idea is that while visiting South Korea, he went to meet up with the president over there. So specifically his name's President Yoon Suk-yeol. And the idea is that the previous package, maybe for perspective, was priced at about $13.6 billion. So this is about triple, which is a lot actually. It's basically triple the size of the former package that they sent over to Ukraine. And they're hoping that through this package, they can hopefully try to keep Ukraine going at least for now until September 2022. So basically about 4 more months from when, if you're watching this right around release date. Now, within this package, what's exactly inside is that it's pretty much going to be everything in order to support the Ukraine efforts, basically trying to keep them, able to get through as much as they possibly can. And in a lot of ways, I know we always want to, focus on helping, and when we do, in a lot of ways, focus on trying to help our own American people. But at the same time, I think it's just really important, even if it's anything, just for sympathetic reasons, to really understand what's going on there right now. If you have seen pictures of what's been happening there, from fires, wars, streets, it is very hardcore. But this package is meant to hopefully try to solve a lot of the stuff that's happening there. It is essentially going to be providing military weapons in order to support their army, but it also does a lot of stuff like providing economic support so that the country physically has money so that they can at least try, again, the key word is to try to make efforts to try to sustain on an economic level so that they can keep going. And then the other big thing is that it also is meant to provide a lot of money for things such as food, agriculture, resources, and to help out refugees. And this is the part that maybe is semi-relevant also to us. I mean, it is actually relatively relevant because, again, at the end of the day, why should we care is that because every single country provides, well, not every, but most countries more or less, they provide their own resources for the world. So Ukraine obviously has theirs, and by essentially keeping them around, they also have resources that they can provide to a lot of people. But if things are happening there, such as like with food, with crops, with farmland, with agriculture, it's going to be very, very impactful. You know, right now in our own country, right now, you know, maybe the more related part is that we are seeing prices skyrocket, increase, a lot of stuff that's going on. So this package is hopefully now able to essentially provide support to everything that's happening there out of more of a humanitarian level. So there's definitely a benefit on a humanitarian level because we are hopefully helping someone out of, you know, good heart. But at the same time, there is also a practical benefit because in an indirect way, it also helps just global economics in general. But now, in terms of talking a little bit about the significance of what this actually means for us, the big thing to know really is that the biggest goal that they're really trying to accomplish doing this is really to just maintain international affairs, really to kind of create peace. This is very, very important because the big idea is that if there really becomes some kind of international conflict that comes out to it, it could potentially be something even more damaging. Essentially think like war, and that's just really one example. World War II is probably the most prominent example, but that's just maybe something that they're really trying to help right now in terms of just keeping the peace with everyone around. Now, I do know because there is a lot of things that are going on also, of course, in America. So when it comes to maybe just taking a trip back to our homeland for anyone that happens to be in America or that maybe is international but that's interested in hearing, because we do have some international, you know, people around here, especially because this is also international news at the end of the day. So huge welcome here. We love the diversity. But the big story to what's happening is that because there was originally a lot of subtle plans on the side when they were working on creating or trying to get this Ukraine aid package through, about potentially trying to take some of that aid money and maybe sacrificing it in order to turn it into fourth stimulus checks for the American people. Obviously, now that we know that the fourth stimulus package, well, not the fourth, but the fourth stimulus Ukraine package, so technically because at the end of the day, it is meant to stimulate the economy, and we kind of, you know, briefly touched up about why. But the big idea really is that because they originally, there was subtle plans about trying to take some of that money and maybe reallocate it to provide stimulus checks to the American people. Now that this package has officially been approved, we obviously know that this did not happen per se. There was definitely intention. I believe there were several politicians that came out that they were thinking about doing something around a $1,000 stimulus check, but to make it very, very particularly targeted using the funds from the Ukraine aid. But however, maybe some good news to share is that because they've now officially approved of the Ukraine package, it means that they can now change their focus and now work onto other programs and affairs as well. So what this does mean is now it talks about fourth stimulus programs for the American people. So why this is still really, really great news is because there are a lot of things that are happening right now. Now that there's one thing they've taken care of, they will hopefully now shift their focus to helping our American people in their actual homelands. But on top of that, there's also a lot of creative ways that they are really trying to come up with now about how they can potentially get this package through. One of them, as just mentioned, is about reallocating funds. It doesn't necessarily have to be through the Ukraine aid, especially now that we know it's already been approved. They can do it through other kinds of programs, maybe taking some of the state and local government, some of the funds they have from the first 3 stimulus packages, and essentially using that to just do social programs, just programs meant to provide help and money inside of our pockets during a time when many are still in need. So what it is that whether they do it through that, whether they do it through a state level, maybe they do it through an executive order, the big idea is that at this point, at least now, they're going to be focusing on the plans that relate to us. You know, the things about their actual American people, and that there's many creative ideas that they're really putting out there right now about how they can potentially do it. But of course, what they end up physically doing, that is probably something we have to maybe look into in one of the next episodes of the Kevin show, basically. So with that being said, that's pretty much what I really wanted to share in today's update. So if you guys found it insightful, as always, remember to smash the like button. If you guys haven't done so, consider subscribing, hitting the bell. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, personal thoughts about honestly anything. So with that being said, if you guys made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay safe, stay well, and stay strong. And hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.